Hello everybody, welcome back. I am excited to be sitting down today because I've got an indie woman-owned brand that was sent to me in PR. I don't always get PR, but when I do, I'm always grateful. And this one kind of like, I don't know, I had never heard of it. I wasn't expecting much, especially when the brand has like a mineral sunscreen, and I don't know. Mineral sunscreens are not my favorite unless they are super elegant, and I was pleasantly surprised. So before I give away the whole video, we're talking about the brand Minori. Oh my gosh, let me see. I actually was messaging the owner and the founder on Instagram, and let's see, because I said it on my Instagram and I was like, I don't know how to pronounce it. She said Minori, and this is what it looks like. So this is the brand Minori. I guess like Minori, I don't know. I'm gonna say Minori though. And that's what we are reviewing today. So I have the sunscreen, I have one of their blushes, and then they also sent me a nice little travel size highlighter, which I think is like the cutest thing ever. I actually would prefer just this size. And their normal highlighter is like $30 some, and I would never ever use that much. So like, I don't know if this is available, but like, this is the perfect size for me. Anyway, this is a very chaotic and hectic intro. All that to say, we are diving into an indie skincare makeup brand today, and I hope you are excited, and let's get into it. So, as always, I forgot to tell you to subscribe, like this video. If you are a viewer that's watched for a while, look at this. Look at this. I can move this arm all the way. I can put my own hair up. This is progress. If you don't know, I separated my shoulder a few months back falling off a horse. I ride horses. It's been a very long recovery. So a lot of my videos back in, I guess it was May, that's when it happened. I had a sling on. I'm obviously out of the sling, and look at this. So much movement, so much range of motion. Anyway, that's not why you're here. But hi, I'm Dana, like, subscribe, and we'll get into this review about Minori. So the first thing I'm going to be testing out today is their sunscreen. This is 100% mineral sunscreen. It's called Daily Mineral Sunscreen, broad spectrum SPF 30. It is unscented, comes in the standard amount, 1.7 fluid ounces or 50 milliliters, and it retails for $28, which honestly these days is like a pretty average normal price. I don't think it's super expensive. I don't think it's super cheap. It's kind of in the middle range. I also understand that's not affordable for all people, but I've also reviewed sunscreens that were like $70, $60. So, you know, I'm just putting it in the middle range category. And if you couldn't tell, I also still kind of have a cold, so I'm a little congested. But if you're wondering why I sound like this, that's why. So let's get into it. As always, if you've not watched one of my videos, I use 1/4 teaspoon for I always say neck and face, and I do it backwards. For my neck and my face, that is the recommended amount to make sure that you are getting the full protection. That is how SPF is measured, and that's how you get the actual protection on here. So if you use less, you're still gonna be protected, but you might not be getting whatever it is. If it's SPF 30 or SPF 50, you might be getting less than that. So if you want that full protection labeled on the packaging, use 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon. Some people use 1/2. I think 1/4 is fine, so, but that's just me. Oh, we went over a little bit. And I will say, before I really start applying this to my face, this has like a pretty, I would say like a rich, I mean not super rich, but cream consistency, if my phone or camera will focus. And it doesn't have that like silicone-y feel, because you're gonna see with the finish of this, it is a little bit more of a matte finish, but it doesn't have that like matte kind of, I can't think of the word, but a lot of sunscreens that do have a matte finish have a really like silicone-y matte kind of texture to it. This just feels like a normal cream. So if you don't like that feel, and I'm thinking of, especially this one, this is the MD Solar Sciences mineral tinted cream. It's got that a little bit like silicone-y feel to it, but it dries down matte. So I can't think of the proper word, of course, and I'm like sitting here trying to think, but this does not. This just feels like a normal cream. all that to say, we're gonna now apply it to my face. Okay, as I mentioned, this is SPF 30. It does retail for $28. And as the description on the website says, it is a non-greasy, pore smoothing sun protection. It has a universal banana tint, which creates a brighter experience and blends out on all skin tones. As far as ingredients in it, we have 10% zinc oxide, that is the mineral pigment. And I am very happy to say that this formula does not have butyl salicylate. That is a common ingredient that many companies put in, and it basically doesn't have to be called out as a chemical filter, but it acts as one, so it gets you usually a higher SPF, but it actually makes the sunscreen a hybrid sunscreen, so not 100% mineral. This one does not have it. It is truly 100% mineral. It also has chamomile extract, pomegranate extract, and aloe vera extract, which are all good ingredients. There's really nothing in the ingredient list looking at it. I would say it's a very, I hate to use the word clean, but like this is a very clean, simple ingredient list, which is even more exciting because the formula is very elegant. And normally when it's a very elegant formula, there's just a lot more in it in terms of ingredients. And this one just seems very simplistic and, like I said, elegant. There are also iron oxides. I know a lot of people like that. Okay. So now that I have it applied, I want to talk a little bit about the actual sunscreen. Now, I'm actually sweating right now. That's because we just had a tropical storm come through. It's like 90 degrees out with like 80% humidity, and it is not raining. So it's very hot in my house. I should probably turn the AC down a little and the fan on. But this sunscreen is really elegant. And I keep saying that word because I don't often find mineral sunscreens to be elegant. I find a lot of chemical sunscreens to be elegant. They can just use more filters, different ingredients. And this one has a very kind of simple ingredient list, but somehow they have formulated it to be kind of what my dreams are made of. You're not gonna be 100% matte. Like right now, I am sweating, truly. Like, got the inner elbow sweat. I don't know if you guys get that. So the little bit of glow I have is not from the sunscreen, it's from me. This sunscreen is not waterproof, so I will mention that. That's kind of like the one downside, but I'm okay with it. As far as I said, the texture is a nice creamy consistency. It doesn't have that silicone-y feel to it, so it's not like, for me, like sometimes that texture is very off-putting. I don't know about you guys. It does not have that. It just feels like a normal moisturizer. If you have more oily skin, this is gonna be fine. This will be your moisturizer and your sunscreen. If you do have drier skin, you're gonna want to layer your serums and your moisturizers underneath, but it definitely is going to be one that works for all skin tones, or skin types, excuse me. But I wanted to mention skin tones. Now, obviously I only have one face to test it on, and my skin tone is not the darkest, not the lightest. I'm probably in the middle, like light medium. My body is definitely tanner, but I feel like with that banana tint, it is one of those tints and tones that does work for more skin types, or I keep saying the wrong word, skin tones. Now, is it gonna work for all? I can't say. Of course, there's probably gonna be edge cases and outliers where it doesn't work for them. And that will probably be noticed around the edges of your face. That's where you tend to see if the color is off, if it's too dark, if it's too light, whatever. But for me, it works absolutely perfectly. That actually brings up another point that I wanted to call out. When I first tried the Minori out, it reminded me a lot of the St. Jane. This one feels a little, the St. Jane feels a little like more matte, a little drier. And the problem with this though is when you are applying the St. Jane, and if you have to do multiple layers, there's a tendency where it can pill a little bit. And especially I have had it pill right on the edges. And that's not even like immediately, but as the day goes on, I will feel like a little bit of pilling around the edges. And I have worn this multiple times now, and it's been fine. Like throughout the day, nothing has been an issue. I did have a little bit of dry skin from tretinoin here, and like, of course it came up, but it wasn't the sunscreen, it was my dry skin kind of being more noticeable. So overall, I've had really good experiences. Of course, I can't speak for everyone, and your skin type and tone and texture and everything are going to depend on how it wears on you. But overall, This has been such a welcome and exciting surprise to enter my life. So many good things about this, but I'm gonna leave that here for now. If you have questions about it, I feel like I tried to cover all the bases, but if you have any questions about sunscreen, let me know in the comments. And we're gonna actually move on because I do wanna just show you these two other products. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a little concealer on. I don't wanna wear a lot today. I'm gonna put the concealer on and then we'll come back to do these two. All right, so I have my concealer on. I did not put any powder on. That's kind of like the beauty of this sunscreen. I feel like it just gives you such a natural look. The concealer that I have, and I've been really loving, come on, let's autofocus today. We're not focusing today, are we? Is the Sierra Creole. This concealer is beautiful. I'm not gonna talk more about it, but it's very expensive. The whole brand, I'm gonna do a brand review eventually. It's not cheap, but it's really, really beautiful. So that's what I have on my face. I just have a little on my T-zone, a little on my eyes, a little mascara. I will link all the makeup, of course, below. But now we're going to put on the blush. This is the Scarlet shade. I think they have two shades. It comes in these little glass pots, which a few brands do that. Honestly, it's not my favorite. I know it's more sustainable. The other one I can think of is the Finding Ferdinand one, which is actually like a little bit smaller. Let's actually see the size of the pan. So this is the Finding Ferdinand and this is the Minori. I don't love it because I feel like you can't get your fingers or your brush or a sponge in there that well, but this one is just a little bit bigger, which makes it easier. And what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna use a sponge. I have used my fingers. Well, you know what? Let's do fingers on one side and a sponge on the other. You can also use a brush, but I feel like this one is gonna work well with the sponge because I didn't love it with my fingers the first time. So, that's pretty. I'm not sure if when I first put it on, it was running like a little bit warm from arriving and it felt like a little bit more emollient than it's feeling right now, but this is just beautiful. And I've already put a lot on, not a lot, but like more than I want. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the other sponge, which is what I use to blend out my concealer and make sure I've just kind of blended it out. And I even go on top of it and you can kind of go back and forth, not putting any more product on either one. That's so pretty. It's less natural because I put on more, but it is a very natural kind of look. And I wouldn't say right now that it is running too creamy, too matte. It just feels pretty natural. Now I'm gonna use a finger. This is the most, I would say, like easy way to apply blush for those like who don't have brushes, who don't have sponges, and you get a very similar look. Sometimes I feel like it picks up some product, but nothing crazy. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the shade. So when I just put a little and swatch it on, well, looking at it in the pan, the pot, I don't know, it's an interesting shade. I can't really figure it out, but I thought it was gonna run maybe a little bit more red, but seeing it on my hand, it does pick up a little bit of the orange, maybe from my skin tone. So it's an interesting shade, and I'm not sure if I have anything quite like it. It's like a mix between red and orange. So I think, oh, this was the finger side, apologies. I'm just putting a little bit more on just for the camera so you can see. You could obviously have gone super light and just done nothing. Perfect. That is so easy. This is a nice one. I definitely am going to put it over in my like everyday makeup because I'm loving it. Now the test will be, will it last? How long does it last on my face? So I'm not gonna know that today, but I will put in the comments after I wear it a little bit more and let you know. The last thing I wanted to test out is their highlighter. Does this have a shade? Champagne. This is a really interesting texture. Like as a highlighter, it's very, very hard. I guess I could try a highlighter brush and see what it picks up, but I feel like it's so hard that it doesn't really pick up a lot. I don't really need more glow there, but so the way that I've been using it, because I don't really use highlighter, is I've been going in onto my like inner eye, and I use a little bit of a harder flat brush, and then I just put a little, I don't really have any eyeshadow on today, but you can kind of put it on wherever you want, all over the eye or in the inner part. And this one, I feel like the pigment payoff is not great, which is a good thing or a bad thing, but if you're looking for like the most blinding highlighter, I don't think this is it. Like I'm having to go in multiple times just to get anything on the brush. Let's try it with a finger, maybe that works better. Yeah. You definitely have to like press your finger in there though. But that's really pretty, just using like a little bit right on the inner portion of my eye, not like the inner corner, but the inner portion. Just gives you kind of like this awake, nice open look. But it's not blinding, it's not glittery. Let's see if I can get a swatch. It's really not much of anything. So that is my simple, like kind of everyday face with this brand. Out of the 3 products, it's definitely gonna go sunscreen, blush, highlighter. I actually do like the highlighter as just that like shadow on the eye, but it's such a hard texture that it really feels like a little harder to work with. The blush is stunning and beautiful, but in a day and age where we have way a million blushes, there's just so many options to choose from, and I actually really like a little bit more of a like cream to powder texture, whereas this one is just more of a cream texture. It does dry down, or not dry down, but it's not like super emollient, but it's not my 100% like favorite formula. But that said, I think it's a really beautiful blush, and if you are just like looking to pick up something from this brand or from a small indie brand, it would be one I would probably recommend it over the Finding Ferdinand blushes, which kind of are similar. But yeah, the sunscreen for sure is a stunner. 100% would recommend this. It's gonna go in the favorite routine. And yeah, I'm just so grateful to try new brands and share them with you guys. So if you have any questions on the brand, on any of the products, let me know in the comments below, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye.